Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, cryptocurrency exchange known as Binance announced the third phase of its controversial crypto lending product yesterday. It is not that controversial. I'll explain why in a couple of seconds. This time it has included options to earn interest on XRP, Litecoin, and the stablecoin USDC. These join the so far ever-present Binance Coin, Ethereum Classic, and Tether. The basic concept of the scheme is simple. By depositing your tokens for a fixed term of 14 days, you receive a fixed interest rate paid in crypto on maturity. Phase 2 of the product also includes a 28-day term option, but this time participants are limited to 14 days because I believe this just launched sometime last week. There is an overall subscription cap to the amount of each token which is accepted in the phase, and also a limit as to how much an individual can lend. This time around, interest is set at an annualized rate of 7%, other than the Binance Coin and Tether, which attract a 10% annualized interest rate. We spoke about that also a couple of days ago when this was first announced. It is interesting because typically, and I said in the other video as well, when someone normally uses something, especially as a government bond, a bank interest account, a certificate of deposit, any of the other words you can throw out there, you normally, especially now with how banks are, you receive anywhere from 0.5%, 0.1%. I've seen someone tell me that they also receive 1.1% on their money, which is still lower than inflation, so you are basically getting nothing. Subscriptions are allocated on a first served basis, that was in English, and starts for this phase on the 11th of September at 6 a.m., so that was a couple of days ago. New entrants to the third phase product include XRP and Litecoin. XRP has a total subscription cap of 1 million, with an individual cap of 50,000. At the 7% interest rate, a 100 XRP lot will receive a fourth of an XRP after 14 days. Litecoin has a total subscription cap of 6,000 Litecoin with an individual cap of 300 tokens. The reason why this article states that it is controversial that they have this is because the overall idea is, or the original idea of cryptocurrencies and why we had Bitcoin created in the first place, is to get the world away from debt. And one of the main ways that many cryptocurrency exchanges, platforms, institutions, any word you want to use, have found an easy way to get people into the cryptocurrency space, especially institutional investors, is through debt, by issuing debt, by allowing them to issue their own debt. And the idea is, especially if you have ever deposited your money in a bank account, for those of you who do not know, the bank actually uses your money to put into other investments. And the money that they get back from the money that they've used from you, they then sprinkle into your account, and this is the interest that you receive on your account. So the idea is that any type of debt in the cryptocurrency space is seen as negative, and therefore any cryptocurrency exchange or otherwise issuing debt on a blockchain or through a blockchain to be able to give people interest on their money is once again then seen as something negative. So I guess it kind of depends on how you really look at things. There's no way to really get away from this. We are not going to live in a world anytime soon that does not have debt, or that does not have debt issued against something else. It's just kind of how things are. People need loans, people need mortgages, what have you, so on and so forth. And this is going to be a very big industry. This is not going to stop or slow down anytime soon. We saw this also in 2017. There were a number of crypto platforms, tokens, coins, who tried to launch their own debt-based thing. A lot of them, none of them really made it. I assume it had to do with the regulatory backlash of everything that was ICO-based, which many of them also were. And this is why we now see Binance, I want to say BitMEX, maybe, and Coinbase launching things that have to do with the borrowing of money or lending money to a platform for you to be able to receive interest. That goes not really hand in hand, but it's that and also the entire staking things. Long story short, investors are looking for other ways to be able to make money from their cryptocurrencies. This was also in many other podcasts. People have come forward and said, while people think it's cool that they could potentially, go 1,000% profits from having Bitcoin, they also want the option as well for the other coins that they could potentially hold to also be able to make interest on these coins as well. quite fascinating. Here's the actual tweet for it right here. It says Binance launches third phase of Binance lending products, BNB, LTC, USDT, USDC, XRP, and ETC. A lot of C's in there. That's how I was. No, C's and S's. That's what it was. C's and S's. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, French. So this guy has been in the news about 15 times the last couple of days. French Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire said on the 12th of September that French authorities they will not tax crypto to crypto trades, but will tax when cryptocurrencies are sold for fiat. Bloomberg Tax reported on Le Maire's decision on the 12th of September. Per the report, he noted, and I do quote, "We believe that the moment the gains are converted into traditional money is the right time to assess tax," end quote. The author of the report also explains that such an approach to taxing cryptocurrency trading would help with tracking transactions, which he believes to be a common challenge in crypto-to-crypto trading. Le Maire also reportedly addressed VAT, or value-added tax, application to cryptocurrencies. More precisely, he explained that VAT is to be applied to cryptocurrency transactions only when they are used to acquire an asset or a service. France is reportedly already implementing the new approach to cryptocurrency taxation we spoke about a couple of days ago as well. Portugal, which has apparently no taxes on anything, whether it be payments or cryptocurrency trading. There will be zero taxes within that country. Side note, Portugal is already amazing, and now opening up the option to also not have any taxes on your cryptocurrencies as well within France is incredible. Why? I have seen, I have known, I have met many people who live in France who actually, let's squeeze it down, who live in Paris. I met people in Paris and London who make it their goal to simply live off of Bitcoin, whether it be a personal thing, whether to prove a point, whether simply because they acquired an enormous amount of cryptocurrencies before and therefore they're trying to simply just use them, whatever the case might be. The idea that crypto to crypto trades aren't taxed, which means that if you are day trading, there are zero taxes, unlike many other countries. And also just being taxed when you have converted into fiat or whatever. Like I said, if you just simply live a cryptocurrency-based life, you're good. You have no real worries as far as you're getting your cryptocurrency taxed in any way, especially if the trend that we've seen continues as far as other, what's it called? The companies, Flexa, Spedin, this and that, and we get more of a cryptocurrency worldwide space where you paying for things in cryptocurrency becomes commonplace. Fantasy-wise, let's say Amazon starts accepting Bitcoin, and eventually Bitcoin goes up to $1 million. You could realistically never ever have to cash out of crypto again. You could just buy all your stuff on Amazon, especially if you have an app that allows you to pay for something with cryptocurrencies through a supermarket. Does that also then include a Coinbase card? That Coinbase has a card that debits your direct account from your Bitcoin. So imagine if you are in France, you are using your debit card. There's no actual, I don't know. Anyway, I find it quite fascinating. I love stories like this. I'm glad that other countries are finally getting it. And even more so, people, not many people, I assume they've disappeared at this point, fought against me in 2017 when I was talking about that we would eventually have a moment or moments like this where governments would simply say, oh yeah, it's fine, who cares, whatever. They, for some reason, are hyper-focused on whenever something gets transferred into fiat, into cash, into euros, into dollars, into pounds. But they, not that they don't care about crypto, but it's more like a, yeah, it's fine. It can exist on the side, but it only makes the ecosystem stronger. I believe this is the actual, yep. Here's the thing from Bloomberg Tax right here. It says France won't tax crypto to crypto trades, but will hit gains cashed out. Just don't cash out. Super, super simple. Next up, the European Central Bank has attacked plans for an Estonian state-operated cryptocurrency. European Central Bank President Mario Draghi shut down any talk of the proposal by saying about crypto assets, and I do quote, "No member state can introduce its own currency. The currency of the Eurozone is the euro. Many observers theorize that Draghi response is led by a fear of losing monopoly control over the money supply, and for that reason, the division between legacy and crypto ideologies have never been more apparent. There he is right there looking very angry. Estonia is the first European country to signal interest in a state-run cryptocurrency openly. The intention behind Estcoin is to offer borderless flexibility for the country's 20,000 e-residents, foreign entrepreneurs conducting business in Estonia. If you happen to have any time today, if you find yourself with about 15 minutes of not doing anything, go to YouTube, or rather stay on YouTube, and find, type in Estonia e-residence or like Estonia e-permit. I forgot exactly what the word for it is. Estonia is very intelligent. What they're trying to do is they're noticing that a number of people, a large amount of people around the world now have digital jobs where they can simply pick up their laptop and go move wherever they kind of want to. And they're trying to attract the attention of these people and kind of simply bringing them over to Estonia, which is also, I think Estonia and Slovenia, I think, are doing very well right now when it comes to finding very easy, simple ways to get entrepreneurs into their country, especially within the digital cryptocurrency space. Last week, during a press release held in Frankfurt, European Central Bank President Mario Draghi made it clear that all member states must only use the euro. And while it seems the crypto industry has been making great strides of late, most notably in the regulatory approval of BAC's Bitcoin settled futures, Draghi's response comes as somewhat of a blow for the industry. No, not really. Backed using physical Bitcoin to settle their futures is not the same exact thing as a country talking about issuing their own cryptocurrency that will have nothing to do with us. It's not a Bitcoin, it's not an XRP, it's not even a Bcash. The point is, we are now, if you haven't been paying attention to the news the last couple of weeks, we are in a very interesting situation where, as Facebook's Libra inches closer, give or take, countries are now openly coming out talking about that. You may have also noticed this was also a thing in the summer from the United States, with them announcing that the US dollar is the only currency of the US. Russia also said the ruble is the only currency as well, because there were talks about them creating their own digital ruble. And I think also allowing Libra in within the country, and also some other type of payment option. And I think they said, I think it's legal to own crypto, but it will never, air quotes, they said it will never be used as a method of payment within their country. I'm going to assume there will be a change of discussion in the next 5 years. That's just my personal opinion. However, this is what they've said thus far. Now we see the European Central Bank adamantly coming out against any type of other cryptocurrency or any other member state, which is also fascinating, because it's no longer just a company can't do this. It's now everyone else shut your mouth, because none of you can also do it as well, which leads me to believe Estonia is probably not the only country to come forward. There have probably been at least 3 who have come up with ideas or said, maybe we should also digitize our currency because the world is trying to become more digitized. The same exact thing that we saw. Oh gosh, what was it? Just lost my entire train of thought. The point being, the other countries who came to the International Monetary Fund and said that they were thinking of issuing bonds on Bitcoin or Bitcoin-related bonds because their currency as well wasn't doing that well. Especially if we're starting to get hints of what could be titled a recession or something recession adjacent. I'm certain there have been a number of discussions between countries relatively recently talking about, hey, we need to do so and so and so, because I mentioned once before, like I told you from the podcast I was listening to, where they said it's so fascinating because what's actually happening right now is that so many, I'm talking too fast, got very excited, apologies. What's happening right now is that a number of countries are openly discussing the threat, if you want to use that word, that Libra would potentially cause them as a country. Once again, if we've seen the US and Europe reacting in such a way about other countries creating their own digital currency that's not the euro, or maybe that's not, who knows, maybe not paper or whatever. And also the entire Facebook Libra thing I'd mentioned before. Once again, listen to podcasts. They're great. They talk about the actual potential collapse or collapsing of other governments that aren't very strong economically, and therefore they could be taken advantage of by other member states or by Facebook, who is looking to find a way to kind of weasel their way into the banking industry. It's interesting to see because normally when these talks happen, we don't hear about them. But the fact that we're hearing about them almost every single day, I find it's a very nice silver lining for the cryptocurrency space. It means that other countries are interested in a technology that's only 10 years old to transform their country in some sort of way. We just heard, what was the country? Was it Moldova? No. It was somewhere in the Caribbean. I think so, somewhere around there. Who mentioned that they're also going to be digitizing their currency. They mentioned that it's going to have a fixed rate of inflation. Like, it's just, think of what's happening. Think of how far we've come in just 10 years, that the world is not even only taking notice anymore. They've taken so much notice, now they're afraid of the changes that will come. I find it quite fascinating, and without further ado, let's move on. Of course, Libra's in the news once again. Facebook's Libra must achieve the highest standards of U.S. regulatory compliance prior to any launch, a U.S. Treasury official has said, speaking to the reporters in Geneva, Switzerland. Sigal Mandelker, Under Secretary of the Treasury for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, said not only Libra, but other cryptocurrencies operating in or all or part of the U.S. will need to comply with rules aimed to prevent financing crimes. As reported by Reuters on Tuesday, she said, and I do quote, whether it's Bitcoin, Ether, Libra, our message is the same to all these companies. Anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism has to be built into your design from the get-go, end quote. Making her comments after a meeting on cryptocurrencies, including Libra, which has its governing organization incorporated. Why was that difficult for me? In Geneva, with representatives from the Swiss government, the Bank for International Settlements, and other financial operators, organizations, whatever. Mandelker indicated she plans to meet Switzerland's financial watchdog today. The discussion will prioritize putting in place anti-money laundering safeguards as well as potential enforcement actions against projects in non-compliance with the rules, according to Reuters. So the takeaway from the center of all of this, if you kind of heard me saying it, is that cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, from the view that I have over here, are not going to be banned. Governments are, I think they've come to the conclusion themselves. Someone in finance told them, or they were simply alerted to the fact that cryptocurrencies are going to be integrated into the new financial system. I don't think it was I haven't felt for a while that it was like yeah, Bitcoin's so strong, they're definitely like fighting against it. Yeah, it's more like the financial institutions now have control of Bitcoin. We know who controls 1, 3, 5, 7% of all the Bitcoin in the world. I feel like this is going to be the new financial system, my opinion. And the thing that governments are most worried about is that not only are they going to lose hold of the current financial system, like they can't really grasp things together, if that kind of makes any sense. And also, the way that they have operated for a very long time was that everything kind of flowed through them. What happens when people start using a system like Bitcoin or even Libra that they don't explicitly have control of, and therefore, like, imagine in 2 years, the amount of subpoenas that Facebook and Calibra are going to have. If you think they're not, you are joking yourself. The fact that Facebook has all these things right now where people, they're like where they're made to sit in front of them and stuff like, Congress and the Senate in this country and so forth. Oh, also, which they've like said no to a couple of times. I don't know if you guys noticed that. A couple of countries have called Facebook to sit in front of them and tell them, hey, what's this, and this? And Facebook replies, no, thank you. It's very, very rude. The point being, this is why we keep hearing the same things over and over. It comes down to anti-money laundering and combating terrorism. These are the same things that they keep repeating over and over. I think one is more important than the other. Anti-money laundering rules and laws, I'm interested to see how they're going to develop as more cryptocurrencies come out. And the ones that we already have, especially the ones that aren't taxed, end up having private transactions put on top of them. Very interesting future ahead of us anyway. This is the other Libra news from all the countries, because all of them dramatically care about Libra. To kind of finish things off, Almost said spanking. Spanish banking giant Santander says it has become the first institution to use a public has become the first institution to use a public blockchain to manage all aspects of a bond issue. Revealed on Thursday, the company has not only used a token on Ethereum to represent the $20 million debt issuance, once again debt with the bank, but settled it with another set of ERC20 tokens representing cash held in a custody account. To understand why that's important, imagine asking someone a question on WhatsApp and waiting for a postcard with their answer. That's what it's like to issue securities on a blockchain while settling the cash side of the trade through the analog legacy system, the one that we currently have right now. But Santander, in this analogy, conducted both parts of the conversation digitally. Previously, the World Bank issued a similar blockchain bond, but used a private version of Ethereum. French lender Société Générale issued a bond earlier this year on the public Ethereum network, but said nothing about cash on ledger. Santander is claiming bragging rights, since every part of the process is digitized, automated, and on-chain, including having Santander Security Services custody, the cryptocurrency, cryptographic keys for the tokenized security, and tokenized cash. I don't know. So the overall point is, cool. This happened on a blockchain. This is very cool. They issued debt on a public blockchain. I don't know if you heard me say it about 5 times. Did anyone catch the name that was constantly being used by the World Bank? What they keep building on, what they keep issuing debt on, what I have mentioned for many years that they keep using, and I'm pretty sure is also going to be incredibly popular, well-known, regarded in the cryptocurrency space, regardless if they have or have not issued any updates thus far. What I keep seeing over and over, and I will keep bringing you this news until it stops, just to kind of hammer the point home. Ethereum is one of the blockchain projects that I think is going to do incredibly well. They have far too much support over the last couple of years for them not to do well, in my eyes at least. And the fact that we are constantly getting news about, especially even banks also issuing debt on these, it's a very narrow field as to who exactly, or rather what is being used within the cryptocurrency space, and exactly which blockchains are constantly in the news every single day. I find it quite fascinating, and especially because very large institutions, when trying to transfer data or any type of whatever, they're usually using Ethereum. Quite interesting. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroney of Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Woody and Daisy, Triple and M&J, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Mill, Wheezy, JR, Mechanic, Strange Radio Central, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Cryptopolis, Nicholas, Renault, One Piece, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Reggie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto Beer Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Chest Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day, and yes, to crypto. Thank you all very, very much for your support at the moment. The cryptocurrency prices are where they were yesterday. Prices have not moved a lot. That's actually a little fib. Every couple of seconds, we were completely in the green before, but like before I started making the video, everything was in green. However, Satoshi prices are still going down. Bitcoin is still up. Not a lot up, but it's upper than before. I was reading something earlier, and another analyst has said that they believe that Bitcoin needs to pass by $10,500 to continue on its bullish trend upwards. I am personally going to assume that the market is going to go down. Sometimes, you know, what's really fascinating, and someone else mentioned it in a comment before. If I say that I think the market's going to go down, it sometimes goes up. If I say that the market is going to go up, it sometimes goes down. So maybe I'm just a mirror reflection of what's actually happening in the world. Anyway, yeah, everything has relatively erased any type of, I don't think Cosmos was any coin that was mentioned yesterday as being part of the Gemini thing, the Coinbase thing, or the Binance thing. So yeah, anything else? Nope. Nothing too significant at the moment. Everything else that is going up is usually very low 24-hour trading volume. It just takes one rich person to hit buy, and therefore the price goes up. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I think today's Friday. Pretty sure today's Friday. Go out and enjoy your Friday. Hope you get out of work early. Hope your boss isn't a jerk. And after work, go hang out with your friends and just do something nice. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See